Adam, man, it's hard to say this, but the season is over, dude. The regular season is behind us now. So we're going to kind of, for everybody out there watching, we're going to get into it a little differently this episode. We're going to go back, first off, I just want to say we're going to go back Tuesday mornings, 10 o'clock, and that be the only time we're posting during the week. Because, with how busy the regular season is, it had to be too. But I just wanted to start that off and let everybody know we're going to be going back to that. And in this one, we're going to be jumping into some of these conference championships that are coming up this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Um, we got some good games, Adam. Any of them that you want to start with that really sticks out to you as far as on these conference championships, man?
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to say there is a situation with these conference championship games that could spell big time playoff implications. Which you and I just talked about this off camera, but we'll go ahead and dive into it. I think I say just for the sake of it, let's just go ahead and start off with one of the biggest ones, and that's Georgia Bama. Let's just roll off with that one,
Yep.
man. Us being SEC fans, and our team being in the SEC, I think it's
Yep.
only right that we kind of kick the show off, talking about the SEC championship game.
Yeah, man, I agree. It's number 4 Georgia, number 10 Bama. Georgia and Bama in a rematch. We've seen this time and time again, though. This isn't anything new. A rematch in the SEC championship. It's kind of funny, man, with all the things with Ole Miss at one loss, Texas A&M one loss. Had all the SEC teams that were kind of in the running for it, and it ends up being Georgia and Alabama, something that
For
SEC
always.
fans are just all too used to. Man, I tell you, going into this though, if Georgia getting another shot at Bama, that kind of makes you wonder how this game's really going to go, in my opinion. Sometimes it's hard to beat a team twice in a season. Georgia was able to do it last year with Texas, but is Bama going to be able to do that again this year with Georgia? Are they going to be able to beat them twice? I think right now, man, I don't know what you think about this, but I think Georgia's playing better football at this moment here at the end of the season. I think Georgia has, it wasn't very high scoring with Georgia Tech, but I think, and Georgia Tech's not a slouch of a team. That's something two people need to realize. I know they had stumbled a little bit here at the end of the year, but man, I really do think that Georgia's playing really good football. And I'm jumping right into this, but I'm going to predict that Georgia is going to win this game. I think it'll be close because it always is. It's Georgia, Alabama. I don't think either fan base wants to see each other again in the season. I know I got a buddy that's a Georgia fan. He doesn't really want to see Alabama again. I'm sure Alabama knows they got won a close one against Georgia. I don't think they want to see them again.
Right.
But I do think Georgia's gonna win this one, be the SEC championship, and they're obviously a lock in the playoffs. Now, the thing is, committee's supposedly not supposed to punish a team for an extra conference game. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with a technically 3-loss Bama team. A lot of people and a lot of fans are going to probably not want them in the playoffs. But I don't think a team should be punished because they had to play an extra game for being one of the second, one of the top two in their conference. But what's your opinion on this game, man? How do you think this game's going to roll?
Yeah, I mean, familiar faces, right? We've gotten so accustomed to seeing these two teams make it to the SEC championship game, make it to the national championship game, so on and so forth. First of all, I'll just start by saying it just speaks volumes to those programs. I mean, we've said it on this podcast time and time again. Georgia, Bama, as far as the SEC goes, those are your premier top tier standard type programs, and everyone should model their program after that. I mean, if you want success, just look at the history books. It'll tell you everything you need to know about those two programs. So here they are again. It's interesting to see how Alabama made it to this point. I mean, you look at what happened to them week one. We've said it a lot on this podcast, taking that crazy loss to Florida State, and then stumbling again just a few weeks ago to Oklahoma, which I think kind of shocked quite a few people. But that was their first conference loss. So here they are. They've made their way to the conference championship game despite adversity off the bat this season. Man, to me, this game, as a Georgia fan, they may feel a certain way about it. All Georgia fans out there, the record. Alabama has taken you down 4 times in the SEC conference championship game. I don't know historically, like dating back to the beginning of time, but as in recent history, Georgia and Bama have met in the conference championship game 4 times, and Bama has taken them down all 4 times. So that doesn't really bid too well for Georgia fans. Maybe just because of that psych type thing. You know what I'm saying? We,
Yeah.
going into it knowing that you've never beat this team in a conference championship type setting. But I'm with you on this one, Mike. I think that if you look at both teams and kind of compare both teams, maybe not for the entire season, but towards the tail end of this season, good teams get better as the season progresses. We've said that a lot on this show. Unfortunately, the person I got that quote from didn't live up to that this year, but that's a different story for a different day. But Georgia has just seemed to get better and better as the seasons went on, man. And I think that you're honestly looking at, you're looking at a revenge type game as far as the regular season and historically for these conference championships games. And you can't tell me that Kirby Smart wants nothing more than to kind of turn the page on this losing streak to Alabama in the regular season and especially now in this conference championship game. So with that being said, I'm making my prediction right now. I've got Georgia in this one. I think according to the betting odds and all that stuff, they are a 2.5-point favorite. Take that as you will. But I just truly think that all season long, Georgia has proved that they're the better team. Although they did take the L, I get it, I understand that. But I think in this one, Georgia shows up and shows out, and they get that championship win in Atlanta. By the way, it's not really neutral site. If you
still feel like a home game for sure. And one thing I think is interesting about this game, I wanted to bring up. I do think it's interesting that Bama getting in there. It is wild that a Texas A&M team that was third in the nation lost their last regular season game to Texas, who was ranked. One loss on the entire year. I'm not sure either. I mean, I didn't look up any of that because I kind of wanted to talk about it a little, but I'm not sure where the decision in that played out. Was it? I mean, I'm assuming strength of schedule or something had to play because Texas and Bama hasn't played head to head, or Texas A&M and Bama hasn't played head to head. A&M lost to Texas, who beat Oklahoma, who Bama's lost to. So I mean, on paper, you kind of look at it and think, why is Texas A&M not in this championship game over Alabama, and it be Georgia versus Texas A&M? I just think it's an interesting point to think about.
It's odd too, man, because you've also got a one-loss Ole Miss. Not to interrupt you, but you've got a one-loss Ole Miss team sitting out there too.
Yeah, and I guess obviously Georgia beats Ole Miss there in the head-to-head matchup. And Bama had beat Georgia, so maybe they're thinking, well, Bama's, so I guess there was that, because I was thinking that scenario in my head too, and I was like, well, I guess there's that argument that Bama's, because we're not counting Florida State, right? Because we're just counting as conference play. So maybe they're thinking Bama losing to Oklahoma and Ole Miss losing to Georgia, which in my opinion, that's still a better loss to lose to Georgia, right? But maybe Bama beating Georgia. So I was like, well, maybe there's where their thinking's going. But then with Texas A&M, I'm not quite sure where the process, and it wasn't even a question. It was like Texas A&M loses this game, they're out. And I just want to bring that up because I think that's something very interesting, and maybe a little Bama bias is getting put in there.
Maybe.
In this, to be honest, man, in decision making. I just haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, and I think it's an interesting topic that maybe should be noted a little bit. And in my opinion, I mean, man, I don't know. It's tough. I know you got like 3 one-loss teams, or 4 counting Georgia, one-loss teams there. Definitely think Georgia deserves to be in, but I really think A&M would have had the better say, and that should have been the team that been in. And then you got Ole Miss and Bama. I guess you can. Ole Miss been a one loss. I really think that it's just interesting how they came about that, and it has to be some more things into it. If you know, and if you're watching this, let us know. Is it strength of schedule, things like that? Quality wins. I know key wins matter a lot too. Bama went on that big stretch where they beat, was it 4 ranked teams in a row? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that
something
was
like that.
And that could have.
It was definitely something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you, man. It was almost like there was no questions about it. There was no it was like on the TV screen during the game. It said if Texas A&M loses this game, Alabama's going to the SEC championship game.
And I just
And I was
I
shook,
don't
dude.
know.
I was like, I couldn't wrap my head around it,
No.
you know?
I just think as a season, and it has to be from the wins that they did, quality of wins. I'm
Yeah.
assuming, because a lot of people were looking at it and thinking Florida State, but you can't count that in a conference play top. So I mean that's why Miami in the ACC is not in the ACC championship. They're the highest ranked
Yeah.
ACC team in the nation, so, or as far as nationally
Yeah.
ranked. But
It's crazy, dude.
yeah, but that's how it works with conference stuff. But um,
You,
I just thought that was
you know,
interesting.
honest,
We can move on
it,
after that.
no, you're good. And something came to my mind that's kind of funny, man. There might be a really big reason why you and I don't understand this. It's because our team is never in the predicament like that, so we don't really ever have to look into it that deeply.
Oh yeah, we exactly, man. I got the mayonnaise bowl to worry about or something coming up. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
worry about the playoffs. So,
yeah,
but
the Duke's
or the
Mayo Bowl.
yeah, the ACC championship. I don't have anything to worry about, or the SEC championship. I don't have anything to worry about like that. But but
Oh
yeah, man.
man.
Um, I do think it's going to be a great game. It's a classic,
Yeah.
always with those two teams. It's so
Yeah.
many classic games with them, man. It's never a blowout. Even when it looks like one, someone's going to be coming back in the second half or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to watch that one, man.
game, it's going to be a rematch too. I think that's interesting. Is in the
Mhm.
Big 12, BYU's getting a rematch against Texas Tech. Man, I'm going to be honest. I think we're going to see a lot of the same. I think Texas Tech is going to win this game again and prove they're just better. And prove that first one wasn't just like a. I just think we haven't really talked about Texas Tech enough, or really in this podcast this year. As of right now, we've not got the updated yet, but they're ranked fifth. Man, they're a lock in the playoffs. I feel like. If
Oh
and
yeah.
I think they're going to win this and they're going to win their conference. I really do. I just don't think. I think when we were watching it last time, I told you BYU just didn't have the firepower offensively,
Mhm.
especially if they get behind any in this game. If BYU gets behind, I don't think they don't have the structure to be able to come back. That's not what they do. They don't play from losing standpoint. They don't get behind on the scoreboard and play from there. They have to be control the pace of the game, and I just don't think BYU's got the firepower for it overall.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, Texas Tech, like you said, we haven't really talked about them too much on this podcast. They've just kind of flown under the radar all season. Sitting at 11-1, 5 in the nation. Interesting enough, though, BYU's also sitting at 11-1, and their only loss coming to
Yep.
Texas Tech. So it's going to be a revenge type game for BYU. Obviously, another, like you said, a rematch from the regular season. Kind of interesting how both of those teams are sitting at the top of their conference, though, man. I mean, um, really interesting to see there. But anyway, you say Texas Tech's going to win. I think Texas Tech's going to win. Vegas has them as a 12.5 point favorite. Kind of hard to go against that big of a spread, to be honest with you. Um, but yeah, I just think Texas Tech has kind of looked like, I'm not going to sit here and claim that I've watched them all season long, but the few times that I have kind of tuned into some of their games, I think they've looked really good, and I think that they are the better team. So, Big 12 champs is what we're predicting there for the Texas Tech.
I believe so,
But
man. I believe so.
kind of moving into the next one, Mike. It's the one that's kind of stirring up a little controversy, and it's kind of crazy the way the playoff committee and the rules and all that stuff have been twisted and turned and changed and all that. We potentially have a situation where a conference champion, the ACC conference champion, may not even make the playoffs. And that's a lot of speculation, but it's a potential. I mean, it's very possible. It could happen. Um, Duke, and I say all that to say that if Duke wins the ACC championship game, there's a very strong chance, I would say, that they don't make the playoff, and it's basically just because of the terrible season that they've had, and the fact that they made it to the conference championship game is really beyond me. Um, I don't know, man. It's a wild situation there in the ACC, and we saw it coming. We've talked
Yeah.
about it for a few weeks now.
I don't think
But
Duke was on the radar though, man, for us, and I didn't even realize it. But we don't pay, I don't pay enough attention personally to the ACC to even
yeah,
see. I was thinking Virginia, Miami, Georgia Tech, Pitt, those teams that's been in the rankings.
yeah.
Uh,
And it was like the perfect storm. I think the perfect storm had to happen this past weekend for
Yeah.
Duke to be able to slide into that position. And here they are. I mean, the
Yeah.
perfect storm happened. You've got Duke versus Virginia for the ACC championship game. Mike, how you feel about this one, dude?
Interesting, man. Virginia, I'm going to say this. Virginia has, I don't think by any means is going to do well in the playoffs. I don't think they've been playing well. I do think Virginia's still going to manage to beat Duke. Um, I mean, I know they're ranked 18th. I give them their credit. They've had a good season, and I'm not hating on Virginia. I just don't think they haven't looked good towards the end of the season in some games. They've had close games when they maybe shouldn't. Things that just they don't look like a playoff team to me. Which is they're ranked 18th. By the rankings in general, they wouldn't be a college playoff team, right? I think you're going to see Virginia win and getting the playoffs because the top five conference champs in rankings, right? As far as like in rankings is going to go in. Um, so I do think we're not going to see that scenario because I think we're going to see Virginia win. Now it is crazy to see a team like Duke when like Miami's in the same conference. You know what I mean? I get it has to be by conference games, and that's on Miami. They'll lose the two games they did lose, but in the conference. But dude, Miami's beating either one of these teams, in my opinion. I think Miami's going to beat Virginia. I think Miami beat Duke. I think Georgia Tech could beat either one of these teams, and would most likely win it. And it's just weird to see these are the two teams, but I do
Yeah,
think
it's
Virginia's going
wild.
to win it, and I think Virginia's going to end up in the playoffs, dude. I think we're going to see a Virginia team in the playoffs, which is not something I would have predicted early in the season. I don't think anybody would have.
Right.
Um, but the scenario you talk about is interesting. If Duke were to win this game, well, Tulane plays North Texas on Friday. Tulane's ranked 24th. Um, they would be higher in the rankings than Duke, and out of top the five conference or well, more than five conferences, but because I think we were even talking about James Madison would be ranked higher than Duke overall in rankings if they
Yep.
won. So it really could open the door up for if Duke wins this game, which I kind of hope happens, just because it'd be interesting. It does kind of. I feel like a team like Tulane's not going to do well in the playoffs. I feel like it's and I say that because a lot of times some of the smaller schools get in and it doesn't happen in football. In basketball, you get to see some Cinderella stories. Football, Cinderella stories don't happen too often, but I just think the chaos would be hilarious. We could look at potentially Tulane beating North Texas and being in if Duke wins. And if Tulane loses and Duke wins, then we might have James Madison if they win. that would
You
be
never
wild.
know, dude.
Um, but
Yeah, that would be an
interesting
insanity.
interesting rule. What do you think on this game though, man? I mean, I've rambled on enough there about it, but
Oh, you're good, man. I want to touch on one thing that you mentioned there, and then I'll talk about the game. The Cinderella story and all that stuff that can happen in basketball. I want to be perfectly clear on this. The 12-team playoff was created to generate more money, and really, that's about it. They kind of spun it to the fans like you're going to get more football, and there's going to be potential Cinderella stories that happen, and all this and all that. And yeah, we're going to get more football. College football is not set up for Cinderella stories to go all the way.
no, no,
The 12-team playoff was built to generate more money and let the big dogs still make it to the top. But that's a different topic for a different day. Sorry to get all. I do feel kind of strongly about that. But anyway, as far as this game goes, man, I think it's really cool because I was born and raised in Virginia. I think you were too, right?
I
Born and
was,
raised in
yeah,
Virginia your whole life. So, just so happened to move to Tennessee as an adult, but born and raised in Virginia. All my core memories growing up as a child come from Virginia. So it is kind of cool to see a team from Virginia have
yeah,
a good
for
season
sure.
like Virginia has had, play for the conference championship, potentially make it to the playoffs. Where we're from in our region where we were born and raised, it seems like Virginia Tech gets a lot more love, and you never really see Virginia fans. So that's another kind of cool aspect about it. I've always thought Virginia was a cool school. I've had buddies that went to school there after we graduated high school, and so on. But I'm gonna roll with Virginia on this one. I just think the good season that they've had a little bit of momentum. They haven't really looked the greatest, like you said, but I just think it would be kind of cool to see them win. And
Set up nicely with
regardless
an
of what
opponent like
happens,
Duke.
say what, brother?
I said set up nicely for them. If you think about it, man, an opponent having Duke in that, I mean, to get in, that's
Yeah, I mean, I would
if
like
you
to
can't
think it's a
beat
shoe
Duke,
in.
Yeah, if you can't beat Duke, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs in
Yep.
this situation. And so sorry, I didn't
Yeah,
mean to
because
cut you off, but
no, you're good. Something tells me that Duke has already kind of shifted towards basketball season.
yeah.
Potentially, I mean, you know what I mean. So,
Yeah. It's like
um,
when you don't know how you got somewhere and you're sitting there and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. That's kind of what Duke I feel like. But not that they've been terrible. They're obviously good
no,
enough to be in the conference championship this year. But they're what you say 7-5 was their season.
yeah,
Uh,
7-5, 6-2 in the conference.
yeah. I mean, dude, they're 7-5 and they're in their conference championship. I'm upset about an 8-4 Tennessee season. And we're not even close to our conference championship. You know what I mean? It's wild to see, but I do. I kind of feel like it's kind of one of those things of like the fans probably could even agree with this. Like, how are we even here right now? But hey, we'll
Right.
take it.
Yep.
So,
Hey, if I was a Duke fan, I'd be living on cloud nine right
oh
now.
yeah, dude. Because
Um,
there's a chance. There's always a chance.
yep. Which Duke has sparked a couple times this season, and I know that
Yeah,
they've had some success. I mean, obviously not much, but it is what it is, man. But
yeah,
I like I said, I'm gonna be pulling for Virginia on this one, and
yeah.
regardless of what happens to them in that first round of the playoffs, who knows? But they probably get killed, but
Hey, they made
at least they
it.
made it.
Yeah.
We
So,
know what it feels like to just make it, then get
yeah.
killed. So we're with you on that if it happens,
So,
Virginia.
exactly.
So what do you think about the next one, man? Lead us into this one. I think this is the biggest one, man. I think.
I think this might be your biggest game of the year. Um,
Yep,
when
I
this is
agree.
all said and done, I think leading into this is the biggest game of the year so far, and that's man, you got number 2 Indiana and number 1 Ohio State. I had to eat my words this past time, or on our previous podcast, predicting Michigan to beat Ohio State. You got to go out on a limb sometimes,
Yep.
Maybe it's because I wanted it. Part of that probably was true. I wanted it more than anything. And we've made it no secret on this podcast. I'm not a big Ohio State fan at all. But man, this game, Ohio State did their thing against Michigan, and it was a ranked team, ranked opponent, and they look good. I think these are two of the best teams in the nation right now, too. And they get to prove they're number one, they're number two,
Yep.
and in their conference championship. So an in-conference game. There is no lack of opponent on this, or the easy
Right.
schedule, whatever's been there all season's kind of out the window right now, and it's going to come down to who's the best team. And I think that'll answer a lot of questions. Now I will say I've seen so many things. Ohio State fans are so confident that it's almost insane. I've even actually, an Ohio State fan, I seen comment that we're not even worried about them. You're worried about a team that's undefeated as well
Yeah.
and is number 2 in the nation. If you're Indiana, you're worried about Ohio State. If you're Ohio State, you're worried about Indiana. But
100%, man.
I'm excited for this game. I mean, we talked about, man, how like it would be monumental. I mean, it's kind of been in the back of my mind for like the last few weeks of seeing these two teams being at 1-2. I've been thinking, man, this could be a massive conference championship game. I hope that we get a great game. Also, I mean, me, I wouldn't be mad if Indiana won by 40, but I do hope that we get like, a classic game, man. And I'm gonna go against them again, and man, I think Indiana's going to pull out a close one here and beat Ohio State. And I think you could argue either way on these games. I don't think there's
Oh
no
yeah.
upset. There's no upsets when it's 1-2. You know what I
No,
mean?
at all.
Because I think we seen. I showed a thing to you. I know I sent you a text earlier in the year where we seen that thing that somebody made, and it was like Ohio State, and then it's like there's a giant gap, and then the rest of these teams.
Yep.
I still don't. I think Ohio State's great. Don't get me wrong. As far they're a great team, probably maybe even the best team in the nation, but I don't see there being such a massive gap like people act like.
Right.
And I think that Indiana's going to come into this game and show there's not that big of a gap. I think it's going to be at least a close game. I'm not saying that Ohio State can't win this game or that's ridiculous, but I think it'll kind of answer that question. Even if Ohio State wins, you're going to look at a close game where two juggernaut teams just fight it out. And I'm going to go with Indiana, maybe a little bias as usual with this, but and I don't know, I like Indiana, man. I just think their coach is a real deal. I think he's a winner, dude, and that team's stayed resilient in times. And dude.
Oh yeah.
Last game of the season, even before that, last couple games, they were back to doing what they were doing, beating teams, or it wasn't even a close game. I mean, it's they've done that so often this year. So I think there's a lot of things that get ignored about Indiana. And again, sorry to ramble on that, but I don't
Oh,
know. What
you're
do you
good,
think on
brother.
this game, man? What do you think?
So I'm with you as far as the story and kind of playing for bragging rights, man. I mean, it seems like all season long these two teams just kept winning, kept winning, kept winning, and who's really the best. And they don't play each other in the regular season, so you don't get to see that. Kind of like Georgia and Bama play each other. You don't get to see an early glimpse of who's the best, who looks better, whatever. So I mean, this is going to be that time, and I
Yeah,
think I've been begging for this game. I've been hoping that these two
yeah,
teams would meet in their conference championship because I want to see it for myself on the field. Who
yeah,
comes out victorious? Who looks better?
exactly.
But both teams are going to make the college football playoff. There's no question, win or lose. Whoever wins this game, whoever loses this game, they're both going to be in the playoffs, so we're going to continue to see both of these teams play. But who gets that number one spot? And I'm gonna go with you, man, on this one, dude. I've been kind of low key rooting for their success all season, and I
Yeah,
think Indiana is going to take this one. I think they're going to shock a lot of people, and they shouldn't be shocked. That's what's kind of sad about it and kind of
yeah,
frustrating about it as just a football fan in general. Why should you be shocked if Indiana
yeah,
wins this game?
exactly.
Um, and talking about their coach, Kurt Signetti, what this guy has done in just 2 seasons at Indiana, very first season, 11-2 overall, including a 8-1 Big Ten conference record. This season, 12-0, first undefeated regular season in Indiana history with another 8-0 or better Big Ten record. This guy wins everywhere he goes. We could dive into his previous coaching jobs, but what he's done at this program in just 2 years, man, is so impressive. He's lost 2 games in 2 years, and that's the first 2 years. He's
Exactly.
kind of ruined a lot of programs' expectations about how quick a coach should turn a program around. To be honest with you,
Exactly, man.
in my opinion. But regardless of all that, they look impressive. Ohio State looks impressive, and I just think that we're going to see two juggernaut teams hit the field, and I just cannot wait to see it happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm excited about the Georgia Bama game. I really am, but we've been there, done that. We've seen that story before. I
Yeah.
want to see this play out on the field, man, and I'll be the first to admit that I'm probably a little more excited about this one. But
Oh,
I'm rolling
I for
in.
sure am.
I'm rolling Indiana. I'm rolling
Yeah.
Indiana.
Hey man, if we were still doing a game of the week, I think this would have to be it. I mean, it's the game of the year
100%.
in my opinion. It's
Yep.
number one versus number two, conference champion. I mean, undefeated teams. This is what you would almost. This is what you want to see in a championship game, like for the
Yeah.
Natty. Is a number
Pretty
one and
much.
number two, and both of these teams are going to be in the playoffs, obviously. Regardless of what happens. These two teams are undefeated, so they're both in the playoffs. It's just going to be a big bragging rights game, so they could meet again as well. So
Yeah. Who
um,
knows?
it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm sure because we both picked Indiana, we'll have some Ohio State fans in our comments, but I'm
Bring
telling
them
you,
on, man.
the gap is not that huge, and it should not be a surprise to see. It shouldn't be. I'm not. It obviously isn't a surprise if Ohio State wins, but it shouldn't be a surprise either if Indiana wins. That's how
Right.
I'm treating it. If Ohio State wins, I'll be like, well, it is 1-2. They were
Yep.
one. If Indiana wins, I'm like, well, that's a second team in the nation who's undefeated. There is no upset in this game. I'll make that clear. There is no upset in this game,
Yep.
regardless of who wins. So
Yeah, and I think you talking about everyone saying there's a gap. There's Ohio State a gap than everybody else. The beauty of the game of football, man. You have to go out there and prove it on the field, and
yeah,
they proved. They may have proved whatever during the regular season, but we're
yeah,
getting ready to get into conference championships. We're getting ready to get into the
yeah,
playoffs. You're getting ready to play opponents that you would never play other than a playoff type game. So
yeah,
we're getting ready to see if there is a gap. If there is a gap, then you can prove it and you have the opportunity to prove it.
yeah.
But you know,
But if,
it, Indiana could very well remind you that there is no gap. You know what I mean?
and then it's going to be followed up by the fourth and whatever podcast, me reminding you that there is no gap. What if that does happen? So for you guys, better hope you keep winning. Is all I got to say.
No doubt, man. No doubt. No doubt.
You have to deal with me.
Yeah. So that's our conference championships, man. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up on that one, Mike? Because I think we're going to switch gears here, aren't we, a little
Yeah.
bit?
Yeah, man. No, there's really nothing else on those. I think we got some great games though coming up for
Yep.
another weekend of football, man. And I'm just trying to cherish all of what we got left because we're getting towards the end here, you know.
I know.
Um,
Goes
but
by
yeah, I
too
think
quick.
really does, man. But I'll let you go ahead. I know we're gonna switch gears a little bit and
Yeah. I just thought
talk
it,
about
not
what
to
we need
take.
to talk about.
Yeah, not to take over or anything, but I just thought it was very important for us to mention some of these coaching changes and stuff like that. Obviously, the biggest news in college football right now is Lane Kiffin, all the madness and the drama and everything that ensued with his departure from Ole Miss. He has finally accepted the job at LSU. However you feel about the man or however you feel about the situation in general, I think you can say without a doubt that Lane Kiffin going to LSU with those types of resources and the recruiting and the appeal to people to want to go to that school could potentially be a dangerous situation for the rest of college football. I'll just say that because that's how I personally feel.
Yeah.
Because he seems to attract really good recruits. Recruits go to LSU regardless of who the coach is most of the time, it seems like. And LSU may finally have someone on their hands that can kind of rein that talent in and utilize it. But I guess that's kind of like spinning it in a good way and kind of just taking all the noise out of it and just solely looking at it from a team and coach standpoint. The way he went about it and all that other stuff, I don't necessarily agree with how he went about it. Um, Kudos to Ole Miss for not allowing him to continue coaching the rest of the season into the playoffs and stuff. Because I personally feel like if you're wanting to abandon us and you're wanting to just jump ship on us like that, then you don't deserve to be here if we do find success in the playoffs. I know you may feel the same. I don't know, Mike. We haven't really talked about this too much off the podcast.
Yeah, man. Obviously, you know, when it comes to Lane Kiffin, Tennessee fans, we don't have a love too much for him.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not like the crazy Tennessee fans, man. It's just like was going nuts about it or anything, and I've kind of got over the whole thing, you know, when he did leave. But you know, at the same time, I've realized, you know, in the few times that we played against him, it's like kind of want to win against him and stuff. But
Right.
it's always got that, you know, in the back of your mind there, and Ole Miss is going to do the same thing. They have every right to be aggravated. One, I think it comes down to, man, how college football has been done, and I know when a coach is fired and new teams have to get the new coach and they got to get prepared because they got to get ready for next year, right? But
Mm-hmm.
man, you're so close to the end of the season. I think this stuff needs to wait.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
if they're wanting to hire him bad enough and he's like, let me finish out coaching my team this year, then if you want to make an announcement when you know, if your team's season's over and you want to make an announcement and then you go, that's perfectly fine. But I mean, man, he got Ole Miss on a 11-1 season. They're going to the playoffs for the first time. And now this is all going on and all this noise that's going on with it. And I understand him not letting him coach. I know he was going to coach it out.
Mm-hmm.
So part of this is NCAA allowing like the fact that this
Yep.
stuff can happen before a team's
100.
season's even over. I just don't, and I know it's about money and a lot of things, but these are college athletes, these are college students. The
Yep.
it should still be about college students, and
I
I
agree.
get on his professional career is about his career, right? And he's gonna like you want to get that next step up. So I'm not completely hating on Lane Kiffin here with this and
Right.
making a decision to go to LSU because overall it's going to be more money. If he gets the right recruitment, it could be dangerous, like you said. LSU historically is a better program, you know. So not this year. I think Ole Miss was the better team this year, but he's kind of created that there. So you know, I get that he's taking the better opportunity for himself, but at the same time, the college football I think should be about the students and the players, and that's rough on these players, man. That are going to go into the playoffs that just lost their coaches. Now I'm
Yep.
the type of person that's a little bit, I don't know, like I think that chip on your shoulder kind of thing. I would want to win just so he couldn't be a part of it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
Yeah.
I think Ole Miss has the opportunity to win the funniest things if they win this championship game. And you know, Lane Kiffin hasn't won a championship as a head coach. If Ole Miss wins it this year and he doesn't get to be a part of that, that's the ultimate kind of like, you sure you made the right decision leaving us, you know. And I think a lot of people in America are going to kind of root for Ole Miss a little bit, myself kind of included. I'm not saying that that's the team I would necessarily want to win, but I'm not going to be upset if it happens. And I think it would be hilarious if Ole Miss pulls it off. I don't think it's likely. There are going to obviously be some major challenges. Um, but if I'm the new guy stepping in at Ole Miss, I'm going to kind of use that as some little bit of motivation. Be like, everybody's going to be doubting you now. Everybody's going to think that, well, Lane Kiffin's gone. Your coaching staff's left. You're not going to be able to do this. I think that could be some motivation if you use it correctly. But I'd be where my mindset goes. I'm like, coach wants to leave us. I'm gonna win and show him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but
that's perfect, man.
yeah, that's just kind of how I view it. But Ole Miss be kind of funny if you win. So
Yeah.
you know, uh, wild situation, man. I seen a video of the fans.
Oh
There's some
yeah.
fans booing him and going on, which I completely get it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think on it
I,
all? I guess what you guess you
yeah,
know,
I mean, I think overall the way I feel about it is I'm just glad it's over because
yeah,
a lot of that talk and a lot of that decision making kind of overshadowed the last couple games of the season for his team and everything,
yeah,
and really overshadowed a lot of stuff. Honestly, that's pretty much all the media was talking about. So I'm just glad that it's over. LSU got him a coach.
yeah,
I guess time will tell how it works out. The only other coaching change that I wanted to bring up really quickly um, is one of our own offensive coordinator that we had at Tennessee back in 2022 and all that. Alex Golish, man, gets the head coaching job at Auburn, dude, and I think that was announced today.
yeah.
I know there was some rumblings about Arkansas and all this and all that. But Auburn pulled the trigger very quietly, might add. I don't know that really anyone saw this coming, but just as a Tennessee fan, watching what Alex Golish did for our offense back in 2022 when we had Hendon Hooker, incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. He's kind of he's probably one of the biggest reasons why Tennessee has kind of made a comeback as far as just feeling like you're a team again, feeling like you have
Yeah,
a chance again. And give Josh Heupel credit or whatever, but Alex Golish was there with Heupel when this whole thing was really getting built from the ground up. So um, I think Auburn got themselves a heck of a coach, one heck of a coach, and he's found success at USF as well. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what he does in the SEC as a head coach.
yeah, for sure, man. It's cool to see him get moving up,
Yeah,
and you kind of knew it was going to happen. I feel like that not with the Auburn,
right.
that just kind of quietly happened, but you knew he would kind of continue to move up and take pass into bigger coaching roles. So
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
I say congratulations to him, and
yeah,
I'd love to have him back. You know,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I'd take him back in a heartbeat, most likely. As OC or whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah. It'd be nice to definitely have him on that coaching staff as like we had him before, man. But yeah, I wish him the best of luck, man. It's really cool to see. Happy for him.
Yeah.
Um, Something I wanted to bring up: Penn State job has not been filled yet, and I've heard some crazy rumors. I will say I was hearing about Heupel, but I did hear something where there was a statement about Heupel kind of made to kind of threw that out the window. He's not leaving for Penn State, um, according to what I've heard on that. So he
Yeah.
kind of clarified that because I guess the rumors are out there that he was up there and with the. I also seen even Caleb DeBoer, man, rumors of him potentially. Now I ain't heard any updates on that, but I've been looking for him. But I think that's interesting. That would be an
Yeah.
interesting move because I don't know that you go from Bama to Penn State. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, I think I get nothing against Penn State. Penn State's a huge job, but
Right. No. It's
Bama's up there top tier as far as football programs go.
completely different levels,
Yeah,
man. Completely different levels. Yeah, I've heard the same stuff. I heard the little rumbling about Josh Heupel. Good to see that Josh Heupel quickly shut that down himself.
yeah,
He put a quote out there himself, shutting it down. So I respect that. I don't like when other people let other people talk for him, especially in
yeah,
situations like that. So kudos to Josh Heupel. on that one. But yeah, I haven't heard anything shutting down the Kalen DeBoer rumor, man. So that's kind of interesting. Who knows?
It is interesting.
They may feel too much pressure at Alabama, but if you keep winning and you make
Yeah.
conference championships and playoffs,
Yeah.
what more can you do?
Exactly. Well, I told a buddy of mine that, man, it's like maybe the pressure from Bama, but then he said, so you go to a team that went to one, what was it, two playoff games last year, and then got fired this year. So I mean, in-state's expectations are up there too, man. I mean, and this wasn't a knock on Penn State being a
No,
big
at all.
program earlier. I'm just saying Bama's like your Ohio State, Bama, those up there programs to coach at. So interesting that they're considering, going to Penn State. But
I think even Penn State fans would have to, some part of them would have to admit that they know Alabama's a bigger program and a bigger coaching job than their own. I mean,
yeah,
may not want to
and
admit it, but deep down they have to
yeah,
feel though.
and even if you could, we're not like you may be like top 10 or something, but we're not saying that you're not good. It's just that's like the top. In my opinion, I would say Bama's up there in that top three of coaching jobs in NCAA when it comes to
Yep.
college football.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. So, some of these coaching jobs are starting to get filled. Some of them aren't still. I don't know what they're waiting around on. Um, but who knows, man? It's college football's crazy, dude.
Yep,
It's going to continue to get even crazier, I think.
it is, man.
Um, well, I know that you really didn't want to say much about it. Um, and we have purposely, for the first time in this podcast history, we have saved Tennessee's game coverage for the very end of the podcast. And that's just because, honestly, dude, I'm embarrassed. I'll sit here and say it. I'm embarrassed. The way that the game went down against Vanderbilt, 45-24. I mean, even if we would have lost this game, I would have never imagined that we would have lost it the way that we lost it. Starting out in the first half, and I'm gonna really make this quick because I could really ramble about this game, and we've already been running for
Yeah,
45 minutes. But in the first half, the game looked close. The game was what it was, tied at halftime, 21-21. Regardless of what people think of what happened and what changed the course of the game, you can say whatever you want. But from my eyes watching this game, we could not stop Vanderbilt the entire game. I mean, the entire game. They pretty much just did whatever they want. I mean, they had 314 rushing yards against us. We had 83 rushing yards. We did outpass them or whatever, but I mean, it's just like there were so many opportunities in this game for Tennessee to maybe not take full control of the game, but not get beat and blown out on your home field. Diego Pavia, I hear a lot of hate, and I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people personally that I know that hate this guy. I can't stand him. Whatever the case may be. But I'm telling you one thing, dude, you have to give the dude credit where credit is due because most of the time when he talks crap, he backs it up. And he talked crap about Tennessee all off season, all throughout the regular season. And this guy went into Neyland Stadium and basically did whatever he wanted. I mean, he threw
yeah,
two picks, and then it seemed like after he threw those two picks, he kind of hit the ground, and he didn't quit once he hit the ground, man. I mean, this kid, what did he rush for? He rushed for 165 yards, man, averaged 8 yards a carry on us. And it makes me so mad, and it made me so sick watching it that our defensive coordinator and our defense as a whole in general couldn't make the slightest adjustment to try to stop some of that bleeding. We didn't. It almost looked like we didn't do anything to combat what they were doing to us. And I'll just go as far as to say that part of me feels like Tennessee gave up on that very field, man, because they looked defeated. And once the game, after that third quarter where we laid a goose egg, mind you, um, man, we just looked obliterated, dude. And Vanderbilt just came in there and dominated us, dude. I didn't think that I was going to come on this podcast this week after that game was played and say that, but it's there,
yeah.
and I'm done with it, brother.
I feel you, man. I think you know me. I think I was done Saturday. And yeah, like you said, that's the embarrassment part's not like we're not saying that it wasn't possible for Tennessee to be beat by
No.
Vandy this year. Obviously, Vandy's been the higher ranked team; they were the favorite. But if you lose a close game there, where you fought hard, close game like that first half was close, and you had another second half close like that, I think that it's a little more respectable. Tennessee lost. That's all I got to say about it, really. I'm not gonna lie. It put the nail in the coffin for me on Tennessee season to the point, man. I don't even. And this might sound negative. I don't even really care what bowl game we're in, dude. I don't really care. I don't care who we're playing. I might watch some of it, and I want to keep up with if they win it or not. And for the podcast, I'm sure I'll at least be mentioning it, so I gotta at least check it out. But that sounds negative, but that's how I feel. That's just
It is what it
that's what
is.
it feels like, man. I'm done with it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm ready to start enjoying the playoffs and focus on that part of football now. My focus, when I say all that, my Tennessee football season's done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay attention to at least see if they win the bowl game, but I don't really care about that bowl game. It doesn't really matter. I hope they do something better than what they just did. And I
100%,
don't.
brother.
I think Tim Banks is probably gonna have um, not a lot of time left as a defensive coordinator at
Yep.
Tennessee. I'm not saying that I'm reading into all these things that he's going to be fired or I have any inside information. That's just my opinion.
Yep.
Um, and people, I've heard a lot of people argue about how last year's defense was so good. Well, when you have teams, guys like McCoy or guys like James Pierce Jr. or guys that are top level athletes, eventually you just got the right. Anybody could have made that defense good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, you've had 5 years, only one was good.
Yep. Yep. You're
Even
right.
as great as the Hendon Hooker year was, man, and as great as our offense was, the defense was
Defense.
that's why we didn't win a championship that year. I promise you, if last year's defense would have been on that Hendon Hooker um, offensive led team that year, or would have or just had a great defense, that team goes to the playoffs that year. That team makes maybe wins a natty. But the
Yeah.
defense, man, has just been terrible. Um, but that's just that's enough really on that. I just want to explain how like that I'm just kind of done with. I'm looking forward to these conference championships and these playoffs, and I'm still in football mode. Tennessee's kind of just sitting right here in the back burner now, and then as far as Tennessee sports, I'm gonna start paying attention to the basketball season. That's where I'm
There
at.
you
Like
go.
I've moved on to the basketball season now, and that's what I'm looking at now. So
There you go, brother. Yeah. It really just pains me to even talk about it. So that's why we're going to kind of cut it short on that one. But after the championship game and after college football season's done entirely for this year, we will drop an episode that recaps Tennessee's entire season. It'll probably be a long one. I say we'll deep dive into everything that went good, everything that went bad, and this will be high, high,
yeah,
high up on the list of things that went bad for Tennessee.
yeah,
Terrible,
I got
terrible outing. Terrible way to end the regular season,
yeah.
man.
It was. I do have one a comment to make, and
Yes, sir.
I will have to say, um, and kudos to Vandy. What definitely got their revenge. They did what they said they were going to do.
Hundred
So,
percent.
all that. But I will say this: you do have to win one more than one every 6 years before you can own the state. That's all I'm saying.
True. That's fair.
The 1 year don't do it, and
That's fair.
people can say, well, this year's the year it matters. That's fine. That's true. Well, what are you going to say next year if Tennessee comes back and does what they do against
Yeah.
Vanderbilt?
Yep.
Because Pavia most likely ain't going to be there
Right.
unless they win this random lawsuit so he can stay in the college until he's like 28 or something. But he's most likely not going to be there. Um, so I think you had this also another thing that this Vanderbilt team has got a lot of seniority on it, a lot of
Yep.
now this coach may be able to keep some stuff running. I think Vandy's going to be better than what they have been. I'm not saying it's going to be, I'm not really saying anything about it. We just lost, but I'm just saying you got to win one out of six before you can consider the state yours.
Yep. I agree. I agree. You
Yeah,
might have won. You might have won the battle, but you haven't won the war. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly, exactly.
But shout out Vanderbilt, man. Heck of a season. I'll end it with this, and it may be kind of controversial or whatever, but I think Vanderbilt's going to be completely overlooked as a playoff team. I don't think that they're going to get their fair shot at making the playoffs, and I'm not so sure that I agree with that, man. I think what Vanderbilt's done this season and shocked everyone in college football and the way that Pavia's played and led that team. I think they're deserving of a playoff spot, man. I really do. And that takes a lot to say from me being a Tennessee fan, but I'm not going to be a sore loser in this one. It's
Yeah,
apparent that the better team won on Saturday,
yeah.
and see you next year.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. I feel like that they'll get overlooked. I think the problem will be that there's only going to be so many SEC teams they're going to let in.
Right.
Ole Miss, A&M, Georgia, and Bama. You can't
Yep.
put Vandy in over them. I mean, I'm not going to give them that much credit because I can't put them in over those four. So and I think I'm not saying they don't deserve. There's going to be teams that's getting the playoffs that Vandy could beat.
Yep.
Um,
There's going to be
I
a lot
mean,
of teams that don't make the playoffs this year that probably deserve a chance or could
yeah,
make a case for it. But
yeah.
it is what it is, man. But unless you've got anything else, Mike, I think we ended it on a bad note, but I think that's a perfect way to go out, I guess.
That's classic Tennessee way we just did right there.
You know it, brother. Started
Oh,
strong
man.
and ended terrible.
Yeah. Hey, it's been fun again, though, man. I mean,
Of
talking
course.
about
Of course.
these conference championships was fun. So, no,
And
but
we've got
looking
yeah,
forward
we've
to
got a
some of this
ton of
stuff.
good games, man.
Yeah,
Ton of good games left to talk
yeah.
about.
And now we can sit back and just enjoy it. No
Yes.
pressure, just enjoy it, man. We can enjoy Saturday because deep down, I don't really care about any of these teams. So it's like, because I mean, I got ones I pull for, but it's at the same time, I care about good football, so I can sit back and watch good football.
There's definitely some teams that I'd like to see lose, and I'll just say that.
Oh, there's a team I like to see lose. It's been fun as usual, man. If you're still watching, like and subscribe. Appreciate it. We're getting closer to that 100. We got to get there. That'll be our championship this year. So, but as usual,
Yeah,
Adam,
man.
I
was just gonna say, I think we're only 6 away, man. We were 7 away. Now we're 6 away. I haven't checked it today. We may be 5 away. I don't know. I haven't checked it, but thanks to everyone that subscribed.
Absolutely. You have a good one, man.
All right, take care, brother.